Welcome back to our Uncommon Student Presentations. We will continue this morning's session with Carrigan McCoid. Carrigan is homeschooled and lives in Ankeny. She is the daughter of Tonya and Corey McCoid. The title of her project is Military Recharge.
My name is Carrigan McCoid, and my project is titled Military Recharge. This is a photo of my family after my dad returned from his recent deployment to Kosovo for a year long. He returned in March of this year. My dad was enlisted in 1988 at the age of 17. His 30 years of service have consisted of 3 deployments. Growing up in the military life, I have moved 7 times. And one of the biggest lessons I have learned is how friends come and go, but I always have my family and my faith. Let's look at some military statistics. My sources are dosomething.org, marketwatch.com, care.com, and military.com. 72% of military families say that deployment causes additional stress. Military families move on an average of every 2 to 3 years. 20% of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans report experiences with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. 30% of military children feel sad every day. 36% of spouses have at least one mental health diagnosis. Across all fields, military workers of all ranks are more likely to be divorced by the age of 30 at a rate of 15%. And finally, 53% of military families want greater opportunities to build relationships. So what is Military Recharge? Military Recharge is a weekend retreat that took place on October 5th through 7th. This event was offered to the families for no charge, and it was filled with family fun, relaxation, team building games, couple sessions, all with the goal of strengthening and encouraging military families. As my dad returned from his deployment, I saw the effects it had on my own family. I realized that my own family needed strengthening and encouragement, and I know that other military families do too. And this is the reason I chose this project, because I want to help this need. As I began the planning and preparation process, I needed to publicize and raise funds. This article was published in the Shaler Herald newspaper and brought in $900. Next, I sent out fundraising letters. I received both monetary and in-kind donations and had both corporate and personal donors. I put together a budget which would cover the food, lodging, and activities. My actual budget expenses were lower than my estimated expenses due to a cheaper lodging and fewer families. The balance will go towards next year's retreat. After funding came in, I needed to get the word out to families. I reached out to the Iowa National Guard Family's Office and the Iowa National Guard chaplains. I also put a post on Facebook and told my friends and family. Military Recharge took place at Hidden Acres Christian Center, which is 660 acres in Dayton, Iowa. They provided home-style meals, lodging, and a variety of activities. Military Recharge 2018 had 40 people in attendance. This was 6 families, 2 speakers, 1 volunteer family, 3 additional childcare providers, and a photographer. During the weekend, the photographer was able to provide family photos, and one of the families said, "The family photos were great. We've needed to do them for a long time, so it was great to have it as a part of the weekend." During the weekends, couples were able to strengthen their marriages in the couples sessions. Some of the things we talked about is how God uses the struggles to make us stronger, love and respect, the 5 love languages, and how every marriage is different. Our own president, Herbert Hoover, was married to Lou for 44 years. And the hope is that Military Recharge will strengthen military marriages so that they too can enjoy 44 years of marriage together. During the sessions, childcare was provided. One of the moms said, "I usually miss out on activities because I have a baby to hold. We got to be together and not be divided." Herbert Hoover had 2 sons, and he once said, Children are our greatest natural resource. During free time, we had activities such as archery and BB guns. Another fun one was also the giant swing. For team building activities, we had the fall scavenger hunt, walk the plank, human knot, and some of the things that we learned through this was better communication skills and working together as a family. Each family created their family shield, which promoted family unity and helped families to show others what they are about, what they value. The newspaper competition gave families a time to work together and strategize. The blind maze was a favorite, and one participant said, "The maze is just a small part of it, but the lesson is huge." The lesson was about asking for help. After our games and activities, we had door prizes for the families. One being the Guard Your Heart Military Marriage DVD and Handbook. Each couple was able to take one of these home so that after the weekend they could continue strengthening their marriage together. During this project process, there has been many challenges, and I have had to learn to be flexible. One of the things I learned is that next year I need to market sooner. I had a lot of last-minute signups. I also opened this event to veterans. A big thing I learned is that when they leave the military, they lose a lot of their support system, so it's all the more needed. The time commitment was larger than what I had anticipated, and at times it was difficult to balance going to school, my job, life's responsibilities, and all the things I was working on for this project. So originally I had planned to have 10 families. 6 families were at our retreat, and I realized that this was really the ideal size. If it was any larger, it would have taken away from the personal aspect of it. One of the adults commented that because of the small group, they were able to open up and share their stories with one another, and just to build those relationships with the other families there. And my original speaker, 3 weeks before the event, was assigned to a new unit, and he was unable to come. But I found a replacement speaker who went above and beyond, and I could not have asked for anyone better. So all these little details, some things that I thought were bad or didn't go according to my plans, God used them for good. God's plans were better than mine, and he deserves the glory. So Hoover once said, "It is impossible to believe that there is not here a divine force and a purpose from the creator of the universe." Hoover was of the Quaker faith, and he valued religious freedom. Faith was an important part of Hoover's life, just as Military Recharge had a Christian focus. As I look to next year, Military Recharge will be offered in 2019. I will improve using the comments and the experience from this year. The Iowa National Guard Officers Auxiliary has already offered to consider funding for next year. I also plan to create a Facebook page to help better promote this event. At the end of the weekend, each adult filled out a survey. Here are some of the comments. "I am really impressed by the quality of the retreat and professionalism. Carrigan did an amazing job organizing this. Things ran smoothly. It was a good mix of family time and marriage focus." Another said, "Can't wait to get home and watch the DVD. It was a helpful reminder that many of the things we go through as a couple, others do too." Lastly, "We feel recharged as a couple and as a family. Thank you for doing this." This feedback was encouraging for me to hear, knowing that I can make a difference by serving our military families. Hoover also served the military families. After the U.S. entered World War I, he encouraged Americans to eat less meat and conserve commodities. This would allow that there would be enough food and clothing for the Allied troops. This was one of the many ways that Hoover supported the military. Just as military families have struggles and go through stressful situations, all other marriages do too. Herbert Hoover was married to his wife Lou for those 44 years, and they stuck through the stress and the struggles. Family was important to Hoover. This weekend was filled with fun and relaxation, but it was so much more. I saw families come in with tension and leave with a stronger family bond. This is what made it worth it. to hear combat stories, to see family struggles, emotions, and tears. I can't share personal information, but I can tell you without a doubt that there is a real need to support our military families. I received an email following the retreat which said, "This weekend has given us so many memories that will last a lifetime, but also eternal impacts as well. Thank you so much for investing in our family." The impact of military recharge goes beyond the retreat. Family is the building block of our country, and by strengthening families, we are strengthening America. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity.
Do you have any thoughts for expanding this beyond this particular retreat area or place?
Following retreat, I did receive another email asking, it was an Air Guard person, and they were like, "We would love for our service members to also have this opportunity." So people are seeing it. People are taking interest in it. Right now, I plan to do it next year, but I do see potential for it to grow if I can get people to partner with me, more funding. But I do, again, I like the smaller retreat size so that it can stay personal, but possibly more throughout the year would be a way to expand that and influence more families.
I saw a lot of the activities you had at the retreat and stuff. Were you the organizer of it and then an active participant in it, or were you leading it throughout the retreat?
I kind of floated during the retreat. I did I had help from the speakers, but during the retreat I was helping with childcare. I was going in and out of the sessions. I was kind of doing the behind the scenes work as it went on.
So you have plans to do this retreat next year, and you'll graduate at some point and move on and do other things. Are you preparing someone to keep this program going, to sustain it?
So I plan to continue it as an annual retreat. For next year, I'll be looking for someone to partner with me. I do have interest in continuing this, but I know that I cannot do it all on my own. So finding those people who are willing to partner with me is, yes, something I'm looking to.
How did you go about finding the 6 families who did participate? Did they already know each other? Did they get to know each other at the event?
Yes, that's a great question. So I did start with the family's office. They sent out some emails to the people that they were in contact with, and I know that 2 families heard word through that. One of the families heard through the Facebook post, who ended up telling a friend. It was a little bit of everything, really, where somebody heard the word through the chaplains with the National Guard, so a little bit of everything.
So Carrigan, as you look back at the event, what was your biggest aha?
When I could watch those families doing the team building games, and I mean, like the first night, I watched these families walk in, and it's like, wow, this really was needed. But then watching them interact together and build those family qualities, like working together and the communication, and even like the family shields, just when they were sharing about their family and what their family is all about, just really seeing the difference and just how their family was growing together over the weekend.
What is the family shield, and is that something you came up with, or what was that exercise?
So there's a lady I know from the East Coast. Her name is Lynn Marilla, and she runs a military camp. I reached out to her for advice and direction. She gave me a lot of tips and tricks and things to work towards, but she also shared that activity with me, and it was a great idea.
So the activities you did, you created those activities or facilitated those then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some of them I had done in the past, so I was familiar with, but just looking for team building games and.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.